out of the eyes and attention of the world of evil. Are you with me? But a baby is not able to take his place as a ruler when he first comes forth as a child. He must be nurtured and grow and develop and receive proper training and gain much experience in life of how to deal with the people. He must gain this experience beside the divine knowledge he already has before he can come forth before the world as a righteous ruler or assume the divine position he was born for. Whenever one is to come forth to do a great divine work for God, it is prophesied hundreds and even thousands of years before he is born that he will come forth at a certain time and do the work he must do. Look what you find there in the book of Genesis there about the seed of Abraham. No, of a surety thy seed shall be a stranger in the land, right? They shall be in bondage, they shall be afflicted. And it tells you that at the end of 400 years, God himself would come after them and deliver them with great substance. Think about this. In the midst of that, also, it means there's great individuals, great people among them that will come forth and be rulers and leaders and help them to be delivered. One day, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was speaking to me in private, and he told me, he said, brother, he said, we were born to do this work. It was written of us before we were born that we would come forth and do this work. I wondered why he said we were born to do this work. I wondered why he said we while he was speaking to me. Why didn't he just say I was born to do this work instead of we? I already knew he was born to do this work because I knew some of the history of Muhammad in the Holy Quran. And I knew the prophecy of the Bible, of Elijah in the Bible. It prophesied that a man would come forth at the end of the world, Elijah. Before the coming of that great and dreadful day of the Lord, I will send you Elijah. I knew that history. But since he said we, I began to study and analyze who I was since he said we. From a certain divine experience I had had with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, revealing to me that he was more than just the messenger of Allah. He told me to look in the Holy Quran for my answers. He pointed out 2 certain surahs or chapters of the Holy Quran for me to study and read. One surah was the 53rd surah called the Star. The other was the 89th surah called the Daybreak. After studying these chapters over and over again, I began to understand a little more of why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we were born to do this work. Would you please excuse me one moment? My nose is running a little. So as I sit after studying these chapters over and over again, I begin to understand a little more of why he said we. Now, I don't want anyone to think by me saying this that I'm trying to compare myself with any greatness of the last and greatest messenger of Allah. Because the more I studied, the less proud I became. I became more humble and submissive to Allah and his last and greatest messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I went into total submission, which makes me a Muslim whose religion is Islam. Islam means entire submission to the will of Allah. I submitted entirely with my life at stake. Take my life if necessary. What does a student look like acting proud and arrogant before his teacher because he has gained a little knowledge and wisdom from his teacher? And he has not even learned and understood all of his lessons from his teacher as yet. He hasn't even passed all of his tests from his teacher, which would qualify him or her for the position they're aspiring to. What kind of arrogancy is this that the student has who thinks he's as great or greater than his master teacher, and he has not completed all of his lessons or course of study to qualify him to do the hardest job any man has ever had to do since the earth has stood? Just think about this job. Dr. Elijah Muhammad said, God told him, I'm going to assign you, Elijah, to the hardest job any man has ever had to do since the earth has stood. No prophet, no divine messenger. You know how long? I just told you the earth has been in its present pocket 66 trillion years ago when the earth and the moon separated. The earth fell in this particular orbit it's in right now and started rotating in this orbit going around the sun. 66 trillion years ago. He told Elijah Muhammad, I'm assigning you to the hardest job any man has ever had to do in 66 trillion years. No prophet, no messenger, no divine man ever had to do a work or job this hard. It's a hard job. And the Bible tells you, all Bibles tell you, at the end of the world, that God would come and raise the dead. No one ever had to go and raise the dead people. They only had to come and just teach people and warn people. Do you understand? They didn't have to go and first raise them from the dead. Do you understand? And then teach them. And you know, our people, as I said, there are a tribe of sleeping gods, a tribe of sleeping lions. Who will awaken a sleeping lion? When you go to wake up a lion, the first army wants to take is the one that woke him up. If I ask you right now, there's a lion over this thing, go over there and shake him and wake him up. Not me. Why? Because you know the minute he wakes up, the first one he's coming after is you. That's the way this work is. We go out there and raise, as soon as you raise up one, he thinks he is greater than the one that woke him up. After he studies a little bit, he thinks he knows more and he's ready to take over and throw you out. When I first started this work, I had to go through that many times. Sometimes individuals, they would get together and form a clan and go out there and working on the outside, get a whole bunch of brothers together and sisters. When we get enough power, we're going to come and throw the minister out. We're going to take over. The minister taught me so much wisdom on how to deal with that. It's like a little baby telling me that what I'm going to do pretty soon, I'm going to rise up out of this here crib and rule you. That's how little they had the power to do that when they tried to do this. They tried it, and one day I lined them all up and ran them all across the desert at high noon. Think about this. They was trotting across the desert at high noon. Bring him in and sentence him and take him away. If he goes willingly, take him away willingly. If you don't go willingly, take him away unwillingly. Throw him out forcefully if necessary. Elijah Muhammad said, even if they get so much power, he said that they look like that you overpowered. He said, stand them all up, ask them, say, who in this temple here is with me? He said, if not one stands up. He said, close the temple down and go start all over again because I give you the knowledge and the key to how to do it. Leave them there and Allah will deal with them. Is that clear? Yes. If they stay there with you, then all praise is due to Allah. But if not one is with you, close it down. That's right. I had the knowledge on how to start it. In fact, it started from nothing, right? In fact, when Elijah Muhammad first sent me to Cleveland, over 43 years ago. Well, actually, when he sent me here, it was about 36 years ago. But I had been already a Muslim for 7 years. I was a minister in Youngstown, Ohio, and a captain. But when he sent me here, which one of you was here when I came? If you was here 37 years ago when I first came, stand up. Let me see where you are. That's my son and my daughter, but they were babies. That's right, but they were here. That's right, you're right. They were here. That's something to think about, isn't it? I'm proud that my son and my daughter, after all these years and all that we have gone through, he's still looking at Dad. Sometimes he'll argue with Dad and so forth, but don't go by none of that right there. He argues, but he always shows me the utmost respect and the proper things that he must show me respect in. He always recognizes me as who I say I am, the true disciple of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My son there, he has never cursed me. Not one time. He had never cursed me in all of his, I think he's 65 years old now. He never, no, he's just a young boy there. But he never has cursed me all the time he's been. My daughter there has never cursed me. Not one time. Think about this now. Don't do no terrible cursing in front of me. The most I will ever hear them is hell or damn. And even that is in a place, context where it could be used. But never in all these years. He would tell you in all those years, did you ever hear me curse your mother? Did you ever hear me strike your mother? Did you, my daughter, did you ever hear me use any kind of vile language, curse words at all to your mother? Did you ever hear me even threaten her? I will kill you. You ever hear me say anything like this? No.